Heartwarming moment, struggling dad uses last $5 for diapers. Incredible CEO steps up to help. Jake stood in line at the community center, the tension in his chest mirrored by the anxious faces around him. His hand trembled as he clutched his last $5 bill, desperately trying to calculate how far this would stretch. It felt like a stone in his palm, heavy with the weight of his worries. Every penny felt like a mountain, especially for his baby girl, Lily. Diapers were a basic need, yet here he was, standing in line feeling like he was begging for survival. Behind his composure lay a heart about to crack under the pressure of mounting bills and the haunting shadows of estrangement from his father, who hadn't spoken to him since life fell apart. The center buzzed with activity, families came for food, clothes, and hope. Every laughter mixed with whispered conversations of struggle. Though he had always been the proud one, part of Jake yearned to reach out to those he'd known growing up. His neighbor Mary was there handing out supplies, kind-hearted and generous. Yet pride clung to him, each thought battling against asking for help. The vivid reminder of how quickly things had turned and the grim realization that he couldn't provide for his child clawed at him. Then the door swung open and in walked Thomas, surprising everyone with his bright smile and sharp suit, like a ray of sunshine cutting through the storm. He was the boy who played in these streets before he became a tech CEO, a life Jake couldn't have imagined for himself. Their eyes met, recognition mingled with uncertainty. Jake's heart raced. Could someone like Thomas even care about someone like him anymore? Thomas scanned the room, his gaze landed on Jake. Jake felt exposed, vulnerable under the weight of old memories and unfulfilled dreams. He saw a flicker of compassion in Thomas's eyes, a deep-rooted loyalty to a friend who needed help. Jake caught a breath, willing himself not to move, but the urge to reach out felt so strong it tingled in his fingers. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Thomas stepped forward. It wasn't just a business decision anymore, it was personal. He remembered the childhood games, and suddenly, he knew he had to act. Jake! He called, the excitement in his voice echoed through the room. Let us talk. I want to help. The words poured out of Thomas, a plan to support Jake in starting a small business, an opportunity for rebirth, hope, fresh dreams. This moment crackled with electricity, promising change. Jake's pulse drummed in his ears. Could he really say yes? The weight of his past loomed large, reminding him of unresolved issues with his own father, shrouded in confusion and regret. Behind them, the community center thrived, alive with the whispers of possibility and unwavering support. But as Jake looked back at Thomas, he felt the aching question take root in his heart: could he let go of his pride and accept the help, or would his inability to mend the past choke the potential of a brighter future? With the smell of fresh hope lingering in the air, they stood on the brink of transformation, uncertain of what would unfold next but knowing they were both ready to dive in. Jake took a deep breath, his mind racing with a swirl of emotions. The offer hung in the air between them, heavy with promise and fear. What would it mean to accept help from Thomas? He couldn't shake the memories of their childhood, running through the same streets, dreaming of futures that seemed so bright but now felt like fading stars. What kind of business? Jake stammered, catching sight of Thomas's bright eyes. There was genuine enthusiasm there, a light that pushed through the dark corners of his doubt. Thomas's excitement was infectious. I've been thinking about a community shop. You know, a place that gives back to those who need it most. We could provide affordable goods, diapers, clothes, essentials. And I want you to run it. You have the heart and the connections. The community trusts you. Jake's heart surged. Running a business? The thought felt foreign and thrilling at the same time. Yet another voice whispered inside him, but what if it fails? Listen, Thomas continued, catching on to Jake's uncertainty. I know it sounds overwhelming. But I believe in you. We could start small, test the waters. I'll help with the initial costs. You won't be alone in this. Jake looked around the community center. A mother cradled a fussy baby, while a little boy giggled with a handful of crayons. These people had their own struggles, but they also had resilience. Maybe this was more than just a chance for him, it could be an avenue to support his neighbors too. A flicker of hope ignited. I need to think about it, he finally said, feeling the weight of the decision settle like a storm cloud above him. Of course, Thomas replied, understanding in his eyes. Just don't take too long, the opportunity is right in front of us. They parted, Jake retreating to a quiet corner of the center where he could collect his thoughts. He couldn't escape the turmoil inside him, grappling with pride, desperation, and a glimmer of hope that made him feel alive for the first time in months. After a few moments, he noticed a little girl in the corner, her brown hair bouncing as she twirled around with pure joy, unhindered by the worries of the world. Lily would grow up in this community. Would he want her to see her father afraid to take chances? Jake. The voice broke through his thoughts. It was Mary, her kind smile bringing comfort. You okay? Not really, he admitted, forcing a smile. Just trying to figure things out. She sat beside him, concerned. About the business? I overheard a bit. If you do this, it means something. It's hope. I know, he sighed, glancing at Thomas, who was chatting with other families now. But what if it all goes wrong? What if I can't do it? Then you'll learn, Mary said gently. You're not alone. This community is here for you. We all want to see you succeed, Jake. Her words resonated deep within him. Maybe it was time to let go of the past, the regrets, the pride, and accept that he didn't have to navigate this alone. As the conversations bubbled around him, he could almost feel the energy of encouragement wrapping around him like a warm blanket. Would he have the courage to step into the light? The thought clung to him, as palpable as the smell of fresh coffee wafting through the air. Days turned into weeks as Jake pondered the decision. Questions flared inside his head. What if he fell short of everyone's expectations? What if he lost everything? And those wounds with his father still raw and open, could he face that too? With every passing day, it became more clear that hope was a two-way street. Acceptance liberated fear, and faith built bridges. The time had come to make a choice, but as he walked towards Thomas that day, he felt another surge of indecision wash over him. Would he open that door, or let it close forever? Standing on the edge of opportunity, he found himself taking a step forward, heart racing, fingers trembling as he prepared to change the course of his life. But he hesitated. What if this was more than a chance for him? What if it meant facing everything that had been buried for too long? Would he take the leap or let fear win once more? Jake stood there, his breath caught in his throat. The chatter of the community faded around him, replaced by the thundering beat of his pulse. The enormity of his decision loomed heavier than ever, weighing down on him like an anchor pulling him back. He glanced at Thomas, who was animatedly discussing his vision with a local couple, and Jake felt a flicker of envy mixed with admiration. Thomas had a fire in him, a sheer belief that seemed to shine brighter than the doubts clouding Jake's mind. Hey, Mary's gentle voice brought him back. You'll be out there telling people they belong. That they matter. Jake felt the warmth from the thought wrap around him, but fear quickly nudged its way back in. What if he let them down? Could he really stand in front of families who looked to him for hope when he couldn't even provide for his own? Do you think I can really do this? He asked, his voice shaky. You already are doing it. Every day. Just look at how people care about you. Look at how they look to you, she replied, her eyes sparkling with conviction. Jake swallowed hard. What did that mean for him? Could he truly lean into that trust? He remembered Lily's laughter, the innocent joy of the little girl who looked at him like he was her superhero, even when he felt like a fraud. Okay, I'll talk to Thomas, he finally said, surprising even himself. His heart raced at the mere thought of directing a shop for his community, a hub of kindness, support, and solidarity. Just then, a commotion near the entrance caught his attention. A young father had just stepped in, visibly distressed. He held a crumpled $5 bill in his shaking hand, seemingly torn between pride and necessity. The father looked around, desperation etched on his face as he scanned the shelves filled with needs he couldn't afford. Jake could feel the tension in the air, thick with unsaid words and suppressed emotion. Thomas, noticing the man's plight, approached him calmly. "Hey there, can I help with something?" The young father hesitated, his voice low. "I need diapers, but I don't have enough. I don't want to take anything from anyone." But the truth was hard to ignore. Parents had to provide no matter the cost. Jake's heart ached seeing the turmoil play out before him. He felt an urgent pull, as if the moment itself was a call to action. Without thinking, he stepped closer. "It's okay, man. I can help. We'll figure this out." The father looked up, tears glistening in his eyes. "Really?" "Yeah," Jake nodded, surprised by the conviction that surged through him. "Let me help you." As they moved to the shelves, something inside Jake shifted. Standing alongside Thomas, the weight of their promise suddenly became clear. This was more than products or profits, it was about people. About lifting each other up. When Jake handed the father the diapers, tears spilled down his cheeks. "Thank you. I didn't know what else to do." For the first time, Jake understood that he had the power to affect lives, his own and others. He felt a warmth spreading in his chest, wrapping itself around the doubts that once seemed unbreakable. "Being there for someone else, it's what matters," Thomas said, joining them. Jake processed the weight of those words, a revelation blossoming between them. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was an opportunity to create a ripple effect of hope within their community. As they shared a moment of quiet understanding, Jake felt a surge of resolve. Maybe this was the time to step forward and embrace his fears, transform them into something greater. The evening sun dipped below the horizon, casting warm golden rays into the center. Jake's heart swelled with gratitude and anticipation. Would he finally let go of the past and dive headfirst into this new chapter? But right when he thought he found his footing, a shadow crossed his mind. What if the challenges ahead were tougher than he could muster? The little victories mattered, but could he navigate the complications waiting just around the corner? He took another deep breath, feeling the thrill of this new possibility sparking within him. Would this be the moment he decided to take the leap? Or would fear grip him once again? Jake lingered in the afterglow of the moment, a rush of adrenaline thrumming through his veins. He had just made a small yet profound difference, and he could still feel the weight of the father's gratitude on his shoulders. It felt good, like a spark igniting in the cold dark of uncertainty that had enveloped him for far too long. "Jake," Thomas said, breaking through his thoughts. "You showed real compassion back there. That's what this community needs. People like you who care." The sincerity in Thomas's voice infused Jake with courage. He nodded, replaying the scene in his mind, the smile on the father's face, the relief that washed over him. That simple act, it had been a turning point not just for the father, but for Jake too. "Thanks, Thomas. It felt right." Exactly. And that feeling is what drives us. If you can do that every day, imagine how many lives we can touch. As dusk fell, the once bustling center began to quiet, but the warmth of connection lingered in the air. Jake watched families starting to trickle out, some with small bags of groceries that Thomas and the volunteers had stocked. The community was coming together, slowly but surely. It wasn't just a shop, it was hope personified, but a nagging thought didn't leave him. How many hidden struggles lay beneath cheerful faces? What if the next family in line didn't have someone to help them? The questions lingered like a fog, momentary flashes of doubt making his heart sink. "Hey, let us not dwell on what ifs right now," Mary said on her way past him, sensing his uncertainty. The future is built on today's actions. Focus on what you can do now. Jake appreciated her words. They were a gentle nudge back into the present. He caught a glimpse of her own determination burning brightly. She was just as invested in this mission, just as ready to help reshape lives. I'll talk to the others about getting some more resources for families in need, Jake said, his voice steadying with purpose that he noticed a few volunteers packing up supplies, their enthusiasm unyielding. The vitality of their small crew bubbled amidst the weariness of the day. They were all in this together, a tapestry of shared burdens and collective strength. As Jake approached the elderly lady who had offered them coffee earlier, he felt that weight he had carried begin to lift. "You're doing a fantastic job," he said to her. She smiled softly, her face lighting up. "Oh honey, you're the heart of this place. Just keep beating." Her laughter rang out a melody that mingled with the fading sunlight. That comment echoed inside him. Heart. The word seemed to hold endless possibilities. Maybe the heart didn't just beat, it could grow, with each beat forming connections stronger than fear. Everything he experienced today felt like a piece of a larger puzzle. He saw clearly that if he could lean into his fears, he might inspire others to do the same. But doubt still lurked in the shadows, ready to pounce at any sign of weakness. As he prepared to leave for the evening, Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out, glancing at the screen. It was a message from Lily's mom, and his heart skipped a beat. "Can we talk? Lily's been asking about you. Was this a chance to reconnect? To face whatever ghosts haunted his relationship with her?" The possibilities flooded his mind, electrifying his spirit. He stood at the doorway, staring at the beautiful chaos of their community melting away in the evening light. Could he really step up and confront this new challenge, this next chapter of his life? Or would he let fear derail him once more? Jake took a deep breath, steeling himself. He was ready to step forward, but a part of him hesitated. Something about that encounter felt significant. Maybe tomorrow, he whispered to himself. Just as the doubt began to ease, he noticed Thomas and Mary whispering together, urgency sparking in their eyes. Jake's heart raced. What news could be brewing behind that hidden conversation? Would it shift the course of everything they had built so far? Jake's pulse quickened as he stepped closer to Thomas and Mary, instinct pulling him into their conversation. He cleared his throat, wanting to know what important news had sparked such intensity in their expressions. "Hey, what's going on?" he asked, trying to sound casual, though urgency crept into his voice. Mary's eyes flicked to Thomas and back to Jake. "We just got a call from the school. There's a family in crisis. A father, he's lost his job and tonight, he couldn't even afford basic necessities for his baby." "What do they need?" Jake's heart twisted at the thought of a child going without. He felt a familiar surge of determination bubbling inside him. "We can help them, right?" Thomas nodded, his brow furrowing. "We can raise some funds, but time is of the essence. He's down to his last $5 and just needs help with diapers." "Diapers," Jake echoed, feeling the gravity of the situation. It was so simple, yet so essential. "Where can I find him?" "Let's not jump the gun," Mary said, her voice steady. "We need a plan. If we go in, we can't just make promises. We need to make them feel like they have support." Jake felt the solidarity in her words. He took a deep breath, feeling that familiar fire ignite again. "You're right. What if we set up a gathering at the center tomorrow? We can invite the community, share the story, and get people to contribute resources. We can even do a drive for essentials. The school could help promote it," Thomas added, his eyes lighting up. "We can tap into the community's spirit. People want to help, they just need to know how." Excitement swelled within Jake at this new direction. They weren't just responding to one family, they were rallying the entire community. He envisioned a circle of support, hands reaching out to lift each other up. Breathing deeply, he felt hope wash over him like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Absolutely. Let us get on it, he replied, determination amplifying his voice. As they gathered around a table to plot their plan, Jake's phone buzzed again. This time it was a reminder of Lily's mom waiting for a response. He hesitated for just a moment, then set it down. This was bigger than just him, bigger than the knots in his stomach about their past. With newfound resolve, he focused on the task at hand. The three of them pored over details, timing, announcements, supplies needed. As they finalized their scheme, he felt a rush of adrenaline, not because it was easy, but because of the urgency of the need. They weren't just helping one child, they were addressing a ripple of issues, feeding the heart of the community they all shared. Later, when they broke for a moment of silence, Jake glanced out into the darkened streets, where flickers of light peeked through the windows of homes. Families gathered, unknowing of the struggles happening just outside their doors. What do you think Lily would say if she saw us doing this? Thomas mused quietly, steering the conversation back to the personal. Jake swallowed hard. She'd probably want to be part of it. The thought lit another spark inside him, kindling the warmth of possibility. Maybe reconciling with her was part of this bigger picture he was forming. His phone buzzed yet again, and this time he didn't ignore it. He scooped it up, glancing quickly at the screen before looking back at his friends. I think I'll reach out to her. Mary smiled knowingly. Sounds like a step in the right direction. You're starting to connect all the pieces. The moment was like holding fragile glass, beautiful, but precarious. Jake took a breath, ready to send a message as a wave of warmth spread through him. But just as he began to type, an unexpected flash illuminated the room, the school's emergency siren blaring from the distance. The sound sent a shiver down his spine. Do you think it's connected? He wondered aloud. Let us hope it's just a drill, Thomas replied. But the worry in his voice told Jake they all felt the same tightening in their chests. With uncertainty looming, he looked to his friends, determination etched on their faces. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. But as the siren echoed in the night, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to step into a greater challenge. What lay ahead? The siren wailing through the night pierced the moment like a knife, cutting through the optimistic energy they had built. Jake's grip tightened around his phone. All thoughts of reaching out to Lily faded as uncertainty gnawed at him. What do we do? Mary's voice was a mix of urgency and unease, mirroring Jake's own chaotic thoughts. The night felt heavier, as if every sound made by the siren echoed the tension inside him. We need to find out what is happening. Fast, Thomas stated, a hint of urgency tangling with his calm tone. Jake felt the familiar pull to act flood through him once more. He nodded, pushing back the wave of worry threatening to swallow him whole. Let us head to the school. We can check in with the staff, see if they need help with anything. The three of them hurried toward the bright lights flashing at the school. The usual quiet streets pulsed with an underlying energy, neighbors peeking out of doorways and gathering in small clusters. The urgency of the moment transformed the familiar neighborhood into something tense and slightly surreal. As they reached the school, the sight of the crowded parking lot and bustling teachers gave Jake a sense of purpose. He felt a weight lift off his shoulders. This was action. This was something they could sink their teeth into. Look, Mary pointed. That's Mr. Sanders. He'll know what is going on. Jake's eyes met Thomas, and they followed Mary as she approached the principal. The older man, normally so composed, wore a mask of concern. Mr. Sanders. What is happening? Mary asked, her voice a mixture of worry and eagerness. There's been an explosion at the local factory, he replied, anxiety lining his voice. A few workers are injured, and we're on alert for evacuations. We're trying to make sure every family is accounted for. We might need to set up a donation station here for them. Jake's heart sank at the thought. Do you think any of the injured? He didn't finish the sentence to Mr. Sanders shook his head solemnly. We don't know yet. That's why we need everyone's help. If you could organize some supplies, food, clothing, blankets. It could get hectic. A wave of understanding passed between Jake and his friends. They were already planning something meaningful for one family in need, but now they were faced with something larger, a crisis that impacted many. "Let us start right now," Jake declared. His voice rang out, solid and clear. "We can organize a donation drive right here, work with the school to get the word out. If families are already showing up, we can make a focused effort." Thomas nodded vigorously. "Yes. The community will rally together. They did it for us before." Just then, Jake spotted the worried look on the face of a mother standing at the edge of the crowd, her little girl clutching her hand tightly. The image pulled at his heart, fear in her eyes mixed with hope, desperately searching for direction. "Hey," he said, walking towards her. "Are you okay? Is there something we can help you with?" Her eyes filled with tears. "We're waiting to hear if my husband is one of the workers who was hurt." In that moment, Jake felt a connection deepen inside him. She looked so lost yet so brave in her vulnerability. "We're organizing support. Supplies, anything you might need. Will you come help us?" Her nod was barely perceptible, yet it ignited a spark inside the small group. "Let us put flyers on every door," Mary suggested. "Word needs to spread fast. People are worried but willing to help if they just know where to go." With renewed urgency, the trio divided roles. Jake felt the adrenaline surge again. But beneath it, a warmth began to blossom. Hope was woven through the fabric of their actions. They could do something profound in the chaos. As Jake pushed through the crowd of families, he kept his eyes peeled for glimpses of the community coming together. This was bigger than just one family now. This was a chance for them to show strength, compassion, and resilience, but in the recesses of his mind, concern lingered. What truly lay ahead? Would they be able to manage the chaos of the moment while ensuring they didn't lose track of the people who needed them most? The siren continued in the background, a reminder that they were still on the edge of something unknown. What if this emergency was just the beginning of a much larger turmoil? The sun hung low in the sky, its orange glow casting long shadows on the school parking lot. Jake felt every heartbeat like a drum in his chest as he worked alongside Mary and Thomas. They moved in a flurry, folding, sorting, packing supplies to help families in need. "Check this out." Mary held up a stack of blankets. "These will definitely keep some kids warm." "Good find," Jake said, his focus shifting as he glanced around. People were starting to gather. Each face was filled with a blend of worry and determination. "Make sure to get enough food together. We don't know how long some families will be here," Thomas shouted over the chatter. He ran off, passing a pair of teachers who were setting up a donation table. As Jake unpacked a box of non-perishable food items, he overheard snippets of conversation that pulled at his heart. "They're trying to account for everyone. What if my brother was on the shift? I can't believe this is happening." He spotted the mother from earlier. She stood at the edge of the crowd, still clutching her daughter's hand tightly. Her posture was stiff, eyes scanning the parking lot. Something about her haunted him. He moved closer. "Have you heard anything?" he asked softly. She shook her head, voice trembling. "Nothing yet. I just hope he is okay." Jake felt a lump forming in his throat. "We're going to make sure everyone gets help. If you need food or anything, please take it." Her defeated smile felt like a small crack in the armor she had built against the night's uncertainty. "Thank you. It's just been a long day." As he stepped away, Jake caught a glimpse of Thomas rushing back, his face flushed with excitement. "I got an idea. What if we set up a community board? People can leave notes for missing loved ones, and we can help connect families." "Great idea," Mary added, her energy igniting the atmosphere. "We can hang up a huge poster. It'll give people a place to share updates or ask for help." Jake nodded, heart racing with the urgency of their task. He jogged to the nearest empty wall, some forgotten part of the school, and began to brainstorm how to make this community board happen. But then, as he pinned one of the flyers up, he caught sight of some emergency personnel arriving with sirens still echoing in the background. They were transporting a few injured workers, the tension rising as parents instinctively huddled their children closer. Jake's stomach knotted. Everything felt heavier now. What happened to people in their community? Would they be all right? Everyone, he shouted, trying to capture their attention. Remember to support each other. We're all in this together. If anyone has updates or needs help, let us keep the lines open. A murmur of agreement surged through the crowd, a palpable moment of solidarity. Jake saw the spark of resilience light up the group. As the donations began piling up, a feeling of hope began to swell in him. They were building something bigger than themselves, a community ready to stand up for one another, to come together in a crisis, but as thoughts of the factory disaster loomed on his mind, a chill settled in the pit of his stomach. What if others were far worse off? What if this wasn't just a one-time emergency? A child wandered into the area, clutching a toy, eyes wide with fear. The sight reminded Jake how fragile life could be. Just then, he spotted a flicker of movement from the edge of the crowd. Someone was approaching, face tense, determination etched into their features. Who were they? And what were they about to bring to the growing tension that filled the air? Jake could suddenly sense that whatever happened next would change everything. Jake squinted against the fading sunlight, his heart racing. The person approaching, a tall man in a frayed jacket, looked frantic. Sweat glimmered on his brow, and his eyes darted around like a trapped animal. There was desperation in his stance, and it twisted Jake's stomach in knots. "Excuse me." The man called out, voice strained. "Has anyone seen my kids? I can't find them." Jake stepped forward, something instinctive pushing him to help. "What are their names?" he asked urgently. "David and Lily. They were with their mother at the corner of Maple and Fifth. They were supposed to be walking here." His voice cracked, betraying the panic he tried to control. Jake glanced at Mary and Thomas, and they hurried to his side. They all exchanged concerned looks, the weight of this father's fear sinking into them. "Let us help him," Jake urged quietly, trying to steady his voice. "Do you have a photo of them?" Mary asked, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the man's frantic energy. The father fumbled through his phone and finally pulled up an image. "This is David and Lily. Please, I can't lose them." Jake felt a rush of empathy as he gazed at the smiling faces on the screen. They looked so innocent, so unaware of the chaos around them. "Okay, let us get that community board up fast. We can share their faces and ask everyone to keep an eye out," he said, the urgency bubbling beneath the surface. As they worked together, hammering out a makeshift board and pinning the photo, people in the crowd started to take notice. Whispers spread like wildfire, eyes shifted toward the family's plight. Every second felt monumental, but also heavy with the weight of uncertainties. "Let us ask for volunteers," Thomas said, already rallying other students who were waiting around. "We need eyes everywhere." Suddenly, it felt like a ripple effect. Jake watched as people sprang into action, forming small search parties that spread out across the parking lot and into the streets. Hope flickered, fueled by their collective energy. A mother who had just lost her own son joined the search, tears streaking down her face, yet her determination shone brighter. It struck Jake hard. She'd been through hell, yet she found strength to stand up and help someone else. A chill ran through him. But despite the fear hanging in the air, moments like these blossomed. Community spirit pulsated as neighbors and friends joined together, talking, organizing, sharing hope. Just as Jake thought they might have a grip on the situation, a loud voice broke through the tension. "Is that them?" A young girl's voice echoed as she pointed towards a cluster of students further down the lot. Jake squinted, his heart pounding in his chest. "No, it can't be," he whispered, unable to believe the vision invading his thoughts. Could it be? Every pair of eyes turned, straining to see. The energy shifted. A slow realization crept over the crowd as they witnessed two small figures running towards them, fear and chaos still etched on their faces but relief close behind. But as the joyful reunion began, another group of emergency personnel arrived, faces grave, clearly set on delivering news. A hush fell over the crowd, and Jake's heart plummeted once more. What were they about to say? Would there be more heartache on this already tumultuous night? He braced himself, realizing that the night was far from over. The air around them thickened with apprehension as the emergency personnel stepped forward, their expressions serious. The father's joy faltered, his eyes darting from the approaching figures to the two children still running toward him. "Sir, we need to talk to you," one of the emergency responders said, voice steady but laced with concern. The father's face paled, confusion creeping in. Are they okay?" He stammered, clutching his phone tighter, almost as if it could somehow shield him from the impending words. Jake's insides twisted as the reality dawned. The gathering crowd seemed to hold its breath, a collective heartbeat growing louder in the silence. Murmurs fluttered through the throng of people. They were desperate for answers, but the tension was palpable, like a thick fog rolling in. "Please just tell me," the father continued, desperation spilling over as he sank to his knees, his earlier bravado crumbling. Jake felt a lump in his throat. He glanced at Mary and Thomas, who wore pained expressions. Everyone had been so focused on finding the kids, and now they faced an entirely different kind of crisis. The moment felt suspended, like time itself was hesitating. "There's been an incident at the park," the responder continued gently. "We're trying to piece everything together. A woman was reported missing, and we need your help to identify her." The father's eyes widened, shock reverberating through him. "What do you mean? Where's their mother?" Jake's heart ached with a kind of helplessness he hadn't felt before. He clenched his fists, channeling the energy shifting in the crowd, the need for hope amidst despair. Just then, the children reached their father, their little faces streaked with dirt and tears. "Daddy!" Lily cried, throwing her arms around him, the innocence of childhood colliding so harshly with a harsh reality. David looked on, bewildered, still processing the chaos that had encircled their day. A sob escaped from the father's lips as he embraced his children tightly. His body shook with emotion, and for a moment, it felt like the world around them faded away. In that fragile bubble of connection, there was still light to cling to despite the shadows lurking just beyond. Jake watched, feeling his heart ache for this family, caught in a whirlwind of confusion and fear. He thought about that mother who had joined them, how she had taken on someone else's pain despite hers still fresh. Dealing with grief and fear was a heavy burden, and yet here they were, standing together in that moment. "Jake, we can't just stand here," Thomas said suddenly, pulling Jake from his thoughts. "We've got to support him. He can't go through this alone." "Right," Jake nodded, glancing at Mary, who was already moving forward, determination etched on her face. "Let us help him find answers." As they approached the father, he looked up, eyes glistening with uncertainty. "I don't know what to do. I'm scared," he admitted, exposing the raw vulnerability that lay beneath. "We'll find the truth together," Jake assured him, feeling new resolve setting in. "We'll help you." The crowd began to stir again, murmurs of encouragement swirled around them. The community that had gathered became a web of support. They weren't just strangers any longer, they were allies, all working towards the same goal. As the father rose with his children in his arms, both of them tightly wrapped around him, Jake felt a spark of determination. Each heartbeat resonated with purpose. What if this was about more than just bringing the kids back? What if this night could mark the beginning of something powerful? As the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows, Jake realized they were on the edge of a fundamental change, a challenge that could transform their lives and others in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. But just then, a distant siren pierced the air, slicing through the tension like a knife, pulling them all back to the reality of a night still filled with uncertainty. Would they uncover the answers they sought, or would more turmoil unfold? The question lingered heavily as the group set off in search of the truth, moving toward a future that felt so uncertain yet so full of possibility. Jake stood amidst the hum of anxious voices, the weight of a night that had spiraled from hope to heartache now clinging heavily to his chest. The air buzzed with energy as the true nature of the tragedy began to sink in, and the specter of fear danced just out of sight. He watched the father abuse his frail body with his 2 children clinging desperately at his legs. He thought of how easily he could have been that father, faced with loss and devoid of clarity. "There's still a chance," murmured Thomas, standing resolute beside him. "We must check in with the search teams. They might have leads." Nodding, Jake felt a surge of determination ignite within him. "Let us go." As they started through the throng of familiar faces, he took a deep breath, allowing the energy of the community to fill him. Every person here had come together, people stepping outside their burdens to confront a more profound crisis. They spotted Mary at the edge of the parking lot, rallying a crowd, her intent gaze shining with determined resolve. "We can keep spreading the word," she shouted, handing out flyers to every willing hand. "A reunion is possible if we persist." Jake felt hope bubbling in his chest but was quickly reminded it could shift just as easily to despair. What if it doesn't happen? He breathed under his breath. "You're not alone in this," Mary said, appearing from behind. "None of this is happening alone." The conviction in her words struck him. The power they wielded as a united front began to crystallize as the group relocated for renewed focus. With quick efficiency, they formed teams to fan out across the surrounding streets. Local shops were approached, their owners quickly agreeing to help with donations and support. As he moved through the now bustling crowd, Jake's heart raced, not with fear but with raw adrenaline. The frantic energy pulsed through him and mixed with a sudden clarity. This night was a turning point. It could lead to something meaningful. They had begun their efforts to mobilize, but the pressing urgency in his mind turned to thoughts of the family's missing mother. For every moment spent searching in the shadows, more families lost hope. "Maybe we need a base for people to come to," Jake shouted as he spotted a nearby park gazebo. "If word can travel fast, more people can gather. It's our best shot at getting assistance." "Yes. Let us move." Thomas shouted. It didn't take long for the gazebo to transform from an idle space into a pulse of unity. With makeshift banners and flyers plastered, it became a hub for whispers of hope, a beacon of resolve against despair. As the night wore on, and moonlight cast a glow over their makeshift station, Jake felt the weight of community love envelop him like a warm embrace. Neighbors brought blankets, food, and essentials, each act building a foundation of support for the uncertain journey ahead. "Thanks for pulling us together, Jake," Thomas remarked, stepping closer. "I see the heart you're building here. It's contagious." "Thanks, man," Jake replied, his smile growing. He paused, the moment washing over him with overwhelming gratitude. "It's because of all of you. Everyone here cares. Our past struggles, our collective fears, they mean nothing in the face of resilience, of helping others. That's what I found tonight." With those words exchanged, the small group huddled around a flickering lantern, the buzz of whispers from volunteers knitting them together in this moment. Looking around, Jake saw the faces of those he remembered and even new friends. Everyone had come to embrace their fragility and find strength together. Suddenly, the sound of a voice cut through the night, a woman crying outside, someone looking for her 2 young children. Her desperation was palpable. Jake felt the air shift. "Everyone, we have another missing person," Jake shouted, his voice cutting through the conversations. As they rallied together again, Jake felt as if a bridge had been built to combine pain and relief. This was so much bigger than just the disappearance of one family, it was about caring for each other. As neighbors, as a community. "Stay strong, stay together," Jake called, as he and Mary approached the sobbing mother. Quickly, they assured her they were searching for anyone who might have seen her children. 2 young children, bright eyes filled with innocence. The memory of Lily sparked in his mind. "We'll find them," he reassured the mother softly. "It's not just you, it's all of us. We're all in this together." Hours passed, lives mingled, hearts reached out. Hope soared. Every update offered a glimmer of hope, a reminder that no one was alone in this fight. And as dawn broke, scattering soft hues across the horizon, a sense of collective anticipation filled the gazebo. "Hey, Jake!" Thomas called, the excitement lacing his words. They found her. The words rushed through the crowd, like a wave crashing against a shore of frantic emotions. "Which mother?" someone asked, the panic evident in their eyes. "Both of them." Thomas grinned, and a storm of joy erupted, enveloping every corner of that park. People surged forward, uncertainty morphing into resolve. As Jake wrapped his arms instinctively around the knee-buckling father from earlier, he felt the relief wash over them all, a moment where fear transformed into hope. "Thank you," the father exclaimed, tears streaming down his cheeks. "You did this, all of you." They were met with waves of smiles, hugs, and expressions of gratitude. Each person their teardrops, bitterness, fear. They had become a tapestry of resilience woven from struggles shared and hope refused to surrender. Jake looked to where Mary stood, her eyes shining like the morning sun. He signaled for her to join him, and together they stepped toward the families now reunited. It was as if the world fell away, replaced by pure joy. "We did it," Jake whispered. "Together," she replied, smile radiant. From that moment on, their mission found purpose. A community center would rise, a haven for those seeking support, a lighthouse for those lost amidst their storms, but beyond all that, Jake had learned something invaluable. He discovered that love, heart, and unity could be a response to fear. And in the end, it wasn't just about one father's struggle or the daunting night, it was about standing together for all the tomorrows that lay ahead. As the sun danced high in the sky, illuminating the wide-open horizon, hope blurred the lines of fear, marking the dawn of not only a new day but the beginning of endless possibilities. And as the camera panned back, capturing the vibrant community moving forward, a sense of urgency surged through the air. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your reactions below. Your voice matters. Let us grow this community together.